The morale and the camaraderie that we had for one another earlier in the year is starting to come under duress because of all the losses. Some of the guys are feeling the pressure now from the last year when they were not successful. Most people have a harder time letting themselves love than finding someone to love them. People say it was the greatest individual rivalry they've ever seen. I agree with that. Let me assure you that if either Wilt's or Russ' coach had ever told one of them he couldn't guard the other guy, he would have lost that player forever. The last 5 or 6 days, I've been running. The last 2 days, I've been running pretty hard. Everybody's got to be someplace. I think that David Stern is probably the greatest commissioner that any sport has ever had in the history of this country. Bill Russell helped make my dream a better dream because when you play with the best, you know you have to play your best. This monument is going to be built as a symbol. My most prized possession was my library card from the Oakland Public Library. Don't knock the ball in the stands, keep it in your hands. Heart in Champions has to do with the depth of our motivation and how well your mind and body react to pressure, that is, being able to do what you do best under maximum pain and stress. On females officiating in the NBA, incompetence should not be confined to one sex. The idea is not to block every shot. The idea is to make your opponent believe that you might block every shot. What's more important than who's going to be the first black manager is who's going to be the first black sports editor of the New York Times. I've been fortunate to meet and work with a lot of really smart people. The thing that strikes me most about them is how they continue to explore and learn every day. I have tried to apply that approach in my modest career as well. The magic to a great meeting is all of the work that's done beforehand. Who could better motivate Bill Russell than Bill Russell? Where else but the NBA could people like Bill Russell, Spencer Haywood, Ricky Barry, Dennis Rodman, and Allen Iverson come in and be allowed to be who they are? Success is a result of consistent practice of winning skills and actions. There is nothing miraculous about the process. There is no luck involved. It's always funny until someone gets hurt. Then it's just hilarious. What distinguishes a great player is his presence. When he goes onto the court, his presence dominates the atmosphere. The police force in America pledge to protect and serve. That would actually be dandy if it were happening. Bill Hicks used to joke that he'd like to hijack a typically unpunctual plane and force it to go to its scheduled destination on time. Most people have a harder time letting themselves love than finding someone to love them. Bill Russell was my favorite player of all time. Remember that basketball is a game of habits. If you make the other guy deviate from his habits, you've got him. The only important statistic is the final score. Durability is part of what makes a great athlete. If you really have integrity, there are very few people who can insult you, or honor you. The most important measure of how good a game I played was how much better I'd made my teammates play. We learn to make a shell for ourselves when we are young and then spend the rest of our lives hoping for someone to reach inside and touch us. Just touch us. Anything more than that would be too much for us to bear. I guarantee you, if you could give me 10 points in all those 7th games against the Boston Celtics, instead of Bill Russell having 11 rings, I could have at least had 9 or 8. Commitment separates those who live their dreams from those who live their lives regretting the opportunities they have squandered. Quietly, dispassionately, Russell would make sure the senator understood not only the reasons why he should take the same position on the bill that Russell was taking, but the reasons why he should take an opposing position. Concentration and mental toughness are the margins of victory. Among the defects of the bill, Lord Derby's, which are numerous, one provision is conspicuous by its presence and another by its absence. You got to have the killer instinct. If you do not have it, forget about basketball and go into social psychology or something. If you sometimes wonder if you've got it, you ain't got it. No pussycats, please. I think what has happened to our basketball team, we've been badly distracted. They're not reading too many positive things in the paper. My father once told me that anyone who worked for $3 an hour owed it to himself to put in $4 worth of work. We couldn't sustain it. And they got a lot of kids that can shoot. We just couldn't close out well enough. Learning is a daily experience and a lifetime mission. I truly believe in the saying we work to become, not to acquire. Believe me when I say that Bill Clinton's second term will be good for business. My business. Create unselfishness as the most important team attribute. I live to play basketball. Growing up as a kid, Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics were my favorite team. The way they played, the teamwork, the sacrifice, the commitment, the joy, the camaraderie, the relationship with the fans. To love someone is nothing. To be loved by someone is something, to love someone who loves you is everything. The most important thing to me is the friends that I've made. If a guy pays you $5, you give him $7 worth of work. Love is a debt, she thought. When the bill comes, you pay in grief. I would have loved to play against Bill Russell. He was such a force. If you can take something to levels that very few other people can reach, then what you're doing becomes art. We overreached our decision power. Sometimes our decisions have to fit the reality of the outside world. The idea is not to block every shot. The idea is to make your opponent believe that you might block every shot.